but then you got that in between time. And in the meantime, let me say what's up to everybody over on YouTube, Twitch, Facebook. Welcome in. It's nice to see you this morning. We are live in all the places. I appreciate you all for hanging out with me as I get things set up for this session number 178 of the Morning Journal. I feel like I sound still a little bit tired, a little bit asleep. My voice isn't really where it should be quite yet. All right. So Jamocha is celebrating 60 days sober. That is awesome. Steve is here from the Hold Up TV early. What's good, fam? It's nice to have you in this morning. I don't know, you up early. I don't know if you got something special going on today, but either way, I'm glad to have you here. For this session, we're going to get ready to get into it in one of the classic ways that we like to get started. We're going to start with some affirmations today. Go old school on y'all real quick. So I'm going to open up the request box. Juno, good morning, Juno. Thank you so much for joining us. Steve says, I went to bed early, turning over a new leaf. It's a new year. I got to figure out ways I can be better. So let me take my butt to bed. So tea and affirmations is the name of this segment. You don't necessarily have to have tea. You can have some coffee. You can have some water. Or you can just symbolically hold a cup, however you want to do it. This segment was sort of birthed from Bex, a conversation we had with Bex, talking about saying affirmations into liquid. Like you speak into the food or speak into the water or the tea that you're drinking as a way to kind of reinforce the efficacy of the affirmation. So affirmations are just these positive statements that we are going to claim for our experience going into the day. We want to make them present tense and in progress. Just the reality that we are creating for ourselves through our way of being right now today. So let's take a second and think, what is it that you would like to claim for yourself and for your experience this Wednesday morning? I am breathing. I'm taking some breaths and getting myself ready for this experience still. It's not that I haven't been up. I woke up at, I've been having these vivid dreams lately. Today was another day of vivid dreams. And, not that they were bad, it's just kind of crazy stuff. And then when you wake up, you feel a little bit out of sorts. You don't necessarily feel rested because you feel like you were busy while you were sleeping. So I was up at what, 3:30, I guess it was. When I got up and I said, okay. And, I had my coffee and just kind of gave myself a few minutes to wake up. And then, once the coffee kicked in, I felt like a human being again. So Jamocha says, kids are late start today, so no clue why I'm up. Well, maybe you're up because you need to be here. Maybe you have something for us today that can help make our day a little bit brighter. For however long you decide to stay. Sonic is here. Welcome in, Sonic. Nice to have you here this morning. Yeah. Jehovah Thickness, welcome in. It's good to see you this morning. I checked out. I hung out with Britt yesterday on Twitch while she was playing Minecraft. Just kind of had those rants going in the background. Oh man, So I'm guessing that you'll be on again today at 11. This is going to be your thing. So, all right, affirmations. Do we have some? Do we have an affirmation? Anybody? I know we out of practice. I haven't been offering this as one of the prompts for a while. But if you're thinking about an affirmation that you can claim, I'll give it a couple more minutes because this is just one of two of our check-ins, so no pressure. So Britt, today is going to be on live with some folks on Spoon. Okay. Getting that little multi-stream situation going on. That's what's up. Or having some more voices of people to talk to. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate it. It's like this is a lot of work to get started. Noble kicks the ball off on the affirmations with I am creative and strategic enough to get my projects progressing. I am creative and strategic enough to get my projects progressing. Word up. And that, yeah. And that's a great reality to live into. That's a great thing to claim for yourself. Anything that includes I am enough in any description of it is probably a decent place to start. Right. All right, let's see here. Man. You know, I probably, sometimes the first words I speak in a day are on mic to y'all. I probably should do a better job of warming myself up. I am strong, or I am armed. You're anonymous, so I don't know which one that is. I don't know if you're saying that you are strong or if you're saying you are armed. I mean, you know, hey, it is what it is, though. Sometimes you need to bear arms out here, ready for battle. Got it with me. Shout out to Harley Quinn listening in. All right. Feel free to please, if you do come up with an affirmation, if that's the vibe you're on, you can always put it with a colon in the chat and I'll be able to catch it. We're going to get into the next part of our check-in so that we can move into, I'm really excited about the conversation today. I don't know how excited y'all going to be about it, but I am. I'm in general, I'm excited. All right, so we can move now from affirmations straight into gratitude. Sometimes it might be difficult for us to envision or decide what we want to claim for ourselves. But what might be a little easier to do is to notice and be grateful for the things that we already have as a part of our experience. A little bit of acknowledgement and appreciation. I think appreciation is the apt phrase for this. Gibby is here. Texas T is here. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. You came in just in time to show a little bit of gratitude for what you notice in your experience. And appreciation, like I said, is one of those words that has multiple meanings. Appreciation, we think about it as, being thankful for something. But appreciation also means to increase in value. Like when you have something like money in the bank, getting interest, or a crib, or some asset that you own that becomes more valuable over time, we call that appreciation as well. And I think that that is true for the things that we show gratitude for the things we show appreciation for. We enhance the value of the things in our experience by showing appreciation for them. And I think that that appreciation often attracts more of the things that we appreciate. We position ourselves to receive through our gratitude. So if you can take a second, even if it's, there is no thing too small to acknowledge and show gratitude for. So I'm excited to hear what you are most grateful for right now. Gibby says, what a lovely morning it is. It is a lovely morning. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a nice chill, a seasonal chill in the air. It feels like the time of year that it is. So I'm mad. I'm not mad. Texas T says the majority of Americans don't have a bank account accruing interest, but it's good to dream. I dream. I can dig it. Texas T says, I've graced your life with my savagery. Well, we're here for it. I know you know how to keep it in the pocket. Jehovah Thickness says, right now, I'm grateful being alive. Ain't it good to be alive? To be here to bear witness, Yeah, whatever is going on, I'm fortunate enough to be here to bear witness to it. And for that alone, I'm grateful. If for no other reason than I'm here and able to bear witness to whatever this experience may be, however it may match up with what my expectations are, or what it is I think I want, the fact that I'm here and I'm able to bear witness is awesome. Gibby, thank you so much for the like. Texas T says, I'm too tired to get out of pocket. Gibby is sharing that the love that my family and friends have towards me, it makes me feel whole and happy inside, even when I'm upset and deep in my depression. So having the love of family and friends to offset the difficulties and challenges that you might face internally, being aware that support is in place, it's a beautiful thing. Definitely something worth being grateful for. Grey Wolf has joined us. Welcome in, Grey Wolf. It's nice to have you here with us this morning. Let us know, what is something that you are grateful for right now? Right now, I am most grateful for is the prompt. Mo is here. Welcome in, Mo. It's nice to have you this morning. Hope that you're doing well. Noble Ancient, I'm grateful for the sincere and simple love of a bunny, as well as knowing my life partner loves me immensely. My 24 is made better by that love. My 24 is made better by that love. I think that there was an interesting conversation that was going on last night about true love and what it means and if it exists. I think we all have our different definitions of it, but when we feel the love operating in our experience, it's hard to deny that it's real. It might not match up to the stories and the narratives that we consume in our culture, but it's hard to deny the effect that it has on us when we experience it. So, yeah. Yeah, so starting out with gratitude is a great way to start. And even when we don't explicitly go there in the beginning of the conversation, I think the underlying theme of everything that we do, even when we look at some challenging things that might be going on in our life and experience, even when we are wrestling with some difficulties, the underlying thing is like, and yet I'm still here. And if for nothing else, you know, I can be grateful for that, because that is a little sliver of ground that I can stand on and maybe look towards other possibilities, or maybe accommodate myself, or acclimate myself to what is, and be with it in a way that doesn't harm me anymore. I think a lot of times we expect some situations to change that may not change. But what does change is our relationship towards those things. And we can find peace, you know, even when things are not the way that we would have chosen them to be if we had our choice. So we got Texas T says, I'm most grateful for my mother and her positive encouragement. Just wish I could say the same about my father. I think, yeah, sometimes motivation works and encouragement works in both directions. Sometimes, you Texas T, I know you got a few petty bones in your body. I know you got that little petty bone somewhere. So sometimes it's despite, you know? Yeah, well, even if you don't know them, it's like despite, you know, in spite of that, maybe you got that kind of maybe you got that Michael Jordan gene in you, where it's like, any little thing, any little piece of bulletin board material is like, I took offense to that. So I had to go out there and show them what time it was. So we can work towards things, and we can also we can also push against things. You said you won't admit it because you don't even want to give them the negative credit, right? Oh man. Alexis is here. Noble picked up the slack and went ahead and fed the bunny so that Alexis could be relieved from that duty for today. But I'm glad that you're here listening in. And I hope that you are still on the mend and feeling a little bit better, at least today. So over on, shout out to everyone listening over on YouTube. It's some weird stuff that comes in that I can't quite read, but if you understand what I'm saying, I noticed you put something in the chat. Thank you for being here. All right. I had to put my ice pack on my neck real quick. All right. I mentioned a little bit that I'm kind of excited about the conversation today. Sort of a grand metaphor. And I told y'all Wednesdays are typically a good day. I might have mentioned it last Wednesday, because Wednesdays are kind of like, I'm kind of in the groove. And, it might not be that interesting in you, but it's pretty interesting to me. So I know it's been a while since we've done a poll, but the conversation today, we're going to start with a poll. And if you're listening or watching on a visual channel, you can answer the poll in the chat. Real quick, I want to make sure that we get Alexis's gratitude in before we move forward. Noble is feeding Harley, also Noble's job that allows us to pay bills and save a little extra. Those are things that you are grateful for. So Texas T says, I haven't been here in a while. It feels like I'm at a bar that I haven't gone to in a long time. Well, I mean, I guess that's a good thing, right? You're always welcome. You are always welcome. We still know, even though you haven't been in a while, we still know what your regular is, you dig? All right, we're going to start with this poll. And are you playing more offense or defense? That's the question that we're going to sit with for just a second. While I open up the poll, I want to give a little bit of context to sort of the direction of this conversation here. Thank you so much for the like. I really appreciate it. I'm being stifled by the character limit. Give me 1 second. Um, all right. All right. So here we go. Offense versus defense. Now, I think that in many cases, you have to kind of do both. But let me try to set the context of like the conversation that I'm intending right now. Um, when I say, are you playing more offense or defense? I'm thinking about what your normal tendencies are. Like, are you in a season or in a place in your life where you are kind of going out for things and you're spending more time in pursuit of bringing new experiences into your life, accomplishing new goals, recreating yourself, rebuilding yourself? Or are you in a mode, more of a defensive mode, where you're thinking, oh, let me hold on to what I got. Let me, focus on my security, and let me try to make things as safe and calm and, So do you think that you are playing, and I think the important things is not what you should be doing, because there's often cases where we are playing defense when we should be playing offense, and vice versa. Sometimes we get beat down by life to the degree that we just automatically fall back into a defensive stance, and we don't necessarily play at the capacity that we are capable of. So whatever you think ought to be the case, given where you are in your life and your experience, which one do you think is more prevalent for you? Are you more on offense, or are you more on defense? Are you more on the going for things, or trying to protect things? Texas T brings up the trope in sports that defense wins championships. Yeah, that is something that gets said a lot. that does get said a lot, but offense wins championships too. So sometimes it's the pitching, sometimes it's the hitting. So I think that you could win either way, but if you don't have anything to defend, then what are you playing for, right? I think also the interesting thing about the sports analogy for that, as it were, is the fact that even no matter where you play, there's all of these metrics in place to try to let you know how you're doing. And I think that, it kind of speaks to your risk tolerance as well, whether you're being on the offense, whether you're going for new opportunities, or if you are trying to, kind of gather your reserves and protect. Noble points out, offense and defense are in games, not just sports. Well, all games aren't sports, but all sports are games. That makes sense. All right, so we got a handful of responses. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it. I'm going to open up the request box to open the conversation further. If you are new, there might be some folks who are new to the experience. The box on the right, there's a little poll, little voting box on the right. You can click in there and choose which one. Give you another second, because it's an even number right now, and I don't want to make it this is turning into a dud of a situation if it's a tie, but we're going to stop it anyway. All right. All right. It's a tie. Of course it's a tie. Just a couple votes. All right. Bex is here. Welcome in, Bex. It's good to see you this morning. We're talking about playing offense or defense. Which one do you think you play more? And now I want to bring it out of a kind of theoretical and hypothetical situation. And I want to open up the request box to take the conversation a little bit deeper, so that you can maybe just describe specifically where you are playing offense and where you are playing defense. In what area of your life are you sort of in the process or in the mode of expanding and gaining ground? And in what areas are you in sort of a defensive posture of protecting what you have? Texas T says, I got to get ready for work. All right. Well, I'm glad that you stopped through and added your presence to the conversation. I hope that things are looking up for you in 2022. And looking forward to have you stop back through again. Miss Ma'am is here. Welcome in, Miss Ma'am. How are you feeling this morning? So Noble says, I'm more of a defender personality. I do use attacking or offensive tactics in certain situations, but I'm a defender overall. So that's your general posture. So what are some of the ways that plays out in the decisions that you make? A lot of times the things that we fear put us on the defensive. So is there something that is there a situation, or are there triggers that put up, send you in the direction of the defense rather than moving forward? Are there things that make you pause? Kappa, welcome in. It's good to see you. Nice having you here this morning. We're talking about playing offense versus playing defense. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate it. Cap's like, in football? Well, we're talking about in life. We're talking about in life. We're just kind of using sports as a metaphor. I got sports on the brain. I've been looking at a lot of sports ball over these last couple of weeks, being home, and just kind of understanding how those dynamics, so much goes into creating those experiences, right? Oh, Bex is like a tie. Okay. I'm sorry, Bex. There you go. JT's like, I don't understand sports. I've been really confused for this entire conversation. Okay, I'll break it down for you. When I talk about playing offense, it means when you are actually trying to score, when you are trying to move the ball down the field, put the ball in the basket, round the bases, score points. So you are making progress towards something with the intention of scoring a goal, reaching a goal. So that's the offense. The defense is when you are really more defensive, like you said, defending my feelings. So if you're looking at it from the standpoint of relationships, are you more opened or are you more closed? Kappa says, I've kind of been playing offense because I found someone that matches my energy. Britt says, hey, now I'm a little defensive or whatever. Yeah. So sometimes the defender is not even another person. Sometimes the course plays defense. In the case of track, the clock plays defense, right? Kappa says, you're playing offense because you found someone that matches their energy, but you're also playing tons of defense till I know that they are right for me. Yeah. All right. I think that hopefully the explanation brought a little bit of clarity. Sometimes it is, sometimes it is difficult to, create a metaphor that everyone can resonate with. Um, so Kappa says, I'm running routes on offense, trying to get close, but I'm locking them down with the defense because I ain't trying to get hurt again as a 15-year-old teen. They can't guard my offense, yo. They can't guard my offense. Yeah. Well, I think that I think it's required. A balance is required, and sometimes if you are better at leading and making the first move and taking the initiative on things, then it's important to have other people around you who can kind of watch your back and be on the lookout for danger. Um, I think that I think that offense and defense, it doesn't map perfectly, but I think that people who are playing offense, tend to be more optimistic and looking at all the possibilities of what the good things that can happen, and people who are on defense are pessimistic, guarding against all the bad things that can happen. Now, that doesn't necessarily have to map with your entire personality, but when you are playing offense, you do have to move with a little bit of optimism. There's a risk that you are taking. And then when you're playing defense, you're like looking at all the different scenarios and all the ways that it can go wrong and all the things that you can guard against to make sure that you don't get taken out of the game. So Miss Ma'am says, I'm playing defense because of my situation, but nah. Wait till I get my money right. Nah. You can't tell me nothing, right? But gee, I came here to say I made it 1.2K. Congratulations. Britt says I'm at that height where I'm tall and short, depending on who I'm around. Oh man. I think it was just I'm pretty sure it was on Saturday Night Live. Um, one of the guys up there says, I want to introduce you to my medium smart friend, Dumb Einstein." So it's at 5'7", that 5-7 line. I'm beating him smart, Bill Einstein. All right. All right. So yeah. If we're ready, we can go on to the next prompt. We're about 40 minutes into the situation already, and I hope that everyone is doing well and having fun in here this morning. But yeah, we're ready to go to the next prompt. Go ahead and drop me a heart in the chat. Kappa says, I'm a receiver in football and I need to jump the Moss kids that are jumping. So I don't know how well, like how vivid, I know you've seen the highlights, but I don't know how vivid Randy Moss's career is in your memory. But the fact that it stands out as a thing that you do is pretty impressive. All right, I see the hearts. So let's get ready to go into the next prompt. Reset the request box real quick for you. So how are you measuring your progress? So before I open up the request box, let me say a little bit about the kind of thinking behind this. I think that measurement does a couple things. Sometimes it's hard to do. It's like, some things are very slippery, subjective. You have your, you gather in data. Some of it is quantitative, right? There are the numbers, there's the stats, there's the things that are very easily measured. And there's some things that are qualitative, like where you just kind of have to reflect and use language and story to get a feel for the progress that you are making towards the direction that you intend to go. So whether it's a specific number or whether there are some kind of narrative measures that you use, your choice to measure the direction that you're going and the progress that you're making, it's a strong signal. It's a strong signal to yourself that this thing matters when you take the time to measure it. A lot of clarity comes when you evaluate things and maybe have other people evaluate things. It sends a strong signal to you. So what are some of the ways that you measure your performance? Like, there's some things that matter. How do you know? How can you tell when you're getting better or worse? So how are you measuring? And maybe there's something that you should, maybe there's something that requires, maybe you need to, I think I mentioned yesterday, if you might have to superimpose your kind of that game-like element over the thing that you're doing, make it a game so that you can get through it. So Miss Ma'am says, you measure by how you feel when you're done. So if you can say, what's an example, a specific example where that form of measurement kind of plays out for you? So Kappa says inches, feet, yards, meters, and miles. So there's a physical plane within which you are operating, and you have that mechanism of feedback that's kind of built in. You have that space and you have the time over which you have traversed that space. So that's a really straightforward, clear way to move forward. I measure my performance the only way I can against my previous goals and tasks. Each task I conquer a goal I beat is like a boss that I win against in a game. So measuring against previous goals, that is a very strong, um, that is the best way, is to measure your progress from where you came from before. And I'm wondering if these goals, like, because you have sort of the game dynamic sort of embedded in your personality, it's not difficult for you to kind of apply this metaphor in other areas of your life. I think for a lot of folks, it just seems like everything sort of has like you have a vague sense that things are going well or going poorly, but you don't necessarily capture enough information about the process to let you know how to make it better. Um, so if you're not measuring, yes, you have kind of your subjective experience, but sometimes there are parts in the process, there's parts of growth, and there's difficulties that you go through where you're not going to feel good while you're going through it. And afterwards, you're going to feel worse, not better. But that's just like a part, one little slice of that. The overall experience that you're going for, you know, sometimes a happiness is a counterproductive measurement for the progress, especially when it comes to things that are difficult to achieve. Dealing with difficulties and overcoming major obstacles. Sometimes feeling happy is not going to be anytime soon. So you have to figure out ways to measure that don't rely on your subjective experience in the moment. Because sometimes we just got the blues, yo, and we can let that take us off track. And then sometimes we are a little bit too hard on ourselves. Sometimes we aren't satisfied with our progress when our progress in reality was more than enough for us to achieve what it is that we set out to achieve. So it's like, yeah, I think that it's probably one of many indicators, but I don't know if it's the most reliable one, just because of like the way life is, a lot of times so many things can be going well in our life and our experience, and then there can be one bad thing in one area that kind of colors our entire experience of what our life is like at the moment. We're so wired towards, I believe, seeing the negative, that we can undermine our growth and our progress by fixating on the lack. Miss Ma'am says, but if you saw how lazy I can be, well, you know what, Miss Ma'am, you do what works for you. It's like, yeah, baby steps. And calling yourself lazy is probably not a complete assessment of who you are. That's not all you are. You might be lazy, I don't know, but you're not just lazy, and you're not lazy when it comes to everything in every situation. There might be times where you are being lazy, but that's not what you are and who you are. Mango HPT, welcome in. Thanks for joining us this morning. So let us know, how are you measuring your progress? I guess, and maybe another question, if you want to think about that, what progress are you measuring? Like, what is the thing that you're measuring, and how are you measuring it? Might be worthwhile to think, to be specific. I think that your progress and your growth, if that is what you're aiming for, whatever area that you're trying to grow in, that is definitely a key factor on how you choose to measure it. Mango HPT says step by step. Got to break it down. You got to break it down, yeah. Mango HBT, thank you so much for the like. What's up, Aunt Capone, listening in? I had my notes up on the screen. I didn't see you pop in here, but I'm glad to see that you're around, ready to play some offense. Carlos Hill, cousin, is listening in. By prayer, you gotta pray. That's how you tell your prayer life as a proxy for the quality of your life and experience. It's good to have you in here this morning. All right. So we're talking about how we measuring our performance and what is the key thing that we are trying to accomplish, that we want to pay attention to. Noble says, Miss Ma'am was saying, I'm lazy, and I'm like, that's not, you may be lazy about some things at some times, but that's not who you are. And for Noble, he says, you know that you get angry, but you are not your anger. I couldn't say that word. So Miss Ma'am says, I have anger issues, and by joining this live, it really cheers up my day. Even you told your lover. I love the fact that you call this person your lover, because there's so many different ways that we describe the people who we are with intimately. We call them partners. We call them, husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, BF, GF. You said my lover. Oh man. Yeah, get your lover in here. Oh man. All right. So Britt says, I measure my performance with great out. Huh? All right. I don't know what you meant there. So yeah, you look at outcomes and see how close you are to it, maybe. All right. There we go. Okay. So I think that the whole point of this prompt, and there's lots of different ways, quantitative ways that we can measure our progress. So if we commit to a practice and say that, okay, I've taken this decision off the table, I'm going to do this thing every day. And if you can just check the box that you did it, it doesn't have to be big. It's like, okay, I'm going to write a paragraph. I'm not going to commit, I'm going to write a book. I'm going to write a sentence or a paragraph every day. Then you write that sentence, check the box, and then you can keep going, right? Because the box is checked. But that continuously showing up, maybe taking a walk. I'm going to get outside and take a walk, breathe some fresh air today. As soon as you open the door and take those first steps, you can check the box off. That doesn't mean that you have to quit right then, but you've already checked the box. And then you can build all kinds of momentum that way. So deciding the little thing or the little things that you want to measure, what you measure grows. If you want to talk about, even in a relationship, there's some things that you can show up and do on a regular basis. There's a conversation that you can have on a regular basis. And sometimes it might feel a little artificial, like you're just going through the motions, like, oh, I'm not feeling this. I'm mad at this person. And it's not coming from a sincere place, so I'm not going to do it. But there's little kindnesses and there's little things that you can commit to doing respectfully with the person that you are, with your lover, as Miss Mann would call it, that can make a huge difference, and you can know that I'm being present and I'm showing up in the way that I intend to show up. All right. if we are ready, we can get ready to go into the next prompt. Go ahead and drop me a heart in the chat, and we can get into that. Someone help Miss Ma'am. Miss Ma'am's got a weight on her chest. Oh man, you need a spotter to help you get that weight off your chest. Okay, I'm coming with another sports metaphor. Even though they fell flat, it is what it is because I made the background. So we're just gonna run with it, and I'll just have to explain it the best way I can. All right. So the question: what do you need to work on during the off season? So I think a lot of us, in different areas of our lives, they kind of goes in cycles, in seasons. Sometimes those seasons are just the length of a day. Sometimes there's a busy time of the year or a busy time of the month, and then there is an opportunity to kind of step back and reflect and retool and recenter and re-strategize. So to take the sports metaphor further, a lot of times when you find a great player in any sport, when the off season comes, they decide they're going to work on their game a little bit. They want to add they want to get better at something. Maybe they have a weakness. If it's basketball, maybe they have, that, you can just play them to the left and then they stuck. So on the off season, they just work on their left hand. Maybe they need to try to improve, improve their post game, whatever, get down on the blocks and work on that footwork. I need to work on my footwork during the off season. Maybe I need to get stronger, build my body up so I can take the punishment. So next year, the scouting report on me, ain't gonna be true anymore. You can't just play me to the left because I've added that wrinkle to my game. And now you can't stop me like that. So you got to figure something else out. So whatever the endeavor is that you're working on, whatever aspect of your life isn't important enough for you to direct your attention towards growth in, there's some things that, that you might want to devote some specific attention to getting better at. And sometimes when you're in the heat of working on something, there's no time to get better. You're just trying to survive. But whenever there's an off season, whenever there is a little break or reset point, whether that's at the end of the day, at the end of the week, at the end of the month, or whatever, however long your season is, what is something that you can devote a little bit of time and attention and energy to that will make everything a little bit easier when you get ready to start the game again? So I'm opening up the request box. Work on it. So again, this is not something that you need to drop everything to do, because you can't afford to do that. If you're in the middle of the season, you can't afford to do that. You just got to try to stay healthy and do the best you can. But when you have an opportunity to rebuild and retool and reevaluate, what are some gaps that you think you might be able to fill? What are some strengths that you think you might be able to enhance? Miss Ma'am says, I don't know, I'm gonna let somebody else go first this time. It's all good, Miss Ma'am. It takes courage to go first. Because you might put something in there and you're like, man, you didn't know what you were talking about. Yeah, because this is that request box is like 8 Mile, because you only get one shot. You dig? So you go in there looking crazy, and I'm still, even if you go in there looking crazy, I'm still going to share it. So it makes sense. But if you do have questions, if you do want clarification on it, always feel free to speak up. I'll be glad to say more about it. Miss Ma'am says, yeah, remember the first time I did it? I don't remember the first time you did it, but I do know just from my interactions with you that you come in here a little loose. And I love that energy though. I mean, you came in and professed the state of your breath in the morning. And now that's part of your personality that we can't unlearn. We can't unknow that about you. All right. So I need to work on finding additional skills or perhaps add a new skill that I don't already have in my proverbial deck of skills during my off season. I feel I'm missing details too. So that's why this. So you haven't been able to identify exactly what it is. You know it's something, but you don't know quite what it is yet. Noble, is that the way? Yeah, you still need to think about that. Sometimes it might not be glaringly clear, right? It might not be clear what you need to work on if you haven't been kind of tracking your progress already. That's one of the reasons why it's so valuable to measure things, whether it's through just narrative reflection on what happened during the day and how it matched up with what your intentions were, or if there are numbers, or if it's something that you can actually put numbers on, like how many days in this streak have I been able to maintain this habit, or how many, how many calls did I make? If you are in a situation where reaching out to people to enroll them in some sort of process that you're engaged with, that's a very clear indicator. Like, okay, I'm trying to book people for this show. I need to fill these slots. How many people did I reach out to? How many times did I follow up? You can measure it like that. How many people listened to the last thing I put out? What could I do to get better at that? So Noble is thinking, maybe I need a course or details of design skills that I feel I'm missing, or a workshop or the equivalent. Sometimes you're in a situation where you don't know what you don't know. That's why the feedback and the reflection is so important, because it can open up your eyes to the holes in your game. Because as far as you're concerned, you nice. If you don't know, you don't know. That's right. As far as you're concerned, you nice. You the funniest person you know. Get up there and tell that joke to somebody else, though. If nobody laughs, then that could mean one of two things. It could mean that that's just not your audience, or you might need to adjust your wording a little bit. Maybe you want to adjust your timing a little bit. Why didn't that hit? So being in a situation where you're open to that feedback is really important. So Debbie Bear, DRB Reigns, welcome in. Thank you so much for being here. We're talking about what we're working on during the off season, the things that we recognize we need to get better at. Now, these things exist everywhere in our relationships. Sometimes I gotta keep on Miss Ma'am. Sometimes, like, my relationship with my lover is, maybe there's something that you want to work on getting better at there. And when I say you love her, it makes it seem like there's something specific. It sounds sexual when I say it that way, but it don't have to be that, but it might be that. All right. So what do you need to work on the off season? Keep things doing what they do. You dig? All right. You want to work on becoming more lyrical and powerful with each song I make? Yeah. I think one of the interesting things that happens when you are a creative, and there's a lot of creative folks who are here, like who go as far as to identify themselves that way, or who are that way and don't choose to identify themselves as being creative. But a lot of times when you are in the game and when you are playing, you kind of fall down on the practice. You stop doing the things to practice just to work on your skills. Everything that you do has the stakes of winning the game attached to it. So that makes you less experimental in some cases. It takes some of the play out of the experience. If the game is on the line every time you take the shot, then you might not be willing to try things that might not work. So in the case of a musician, whatever level of success you achieve in the beginning, you're just working on getting better. You put something out and you try to keep getting better, but at some point it might be like, okay, this is what they want from me, so I'm just going to keep giving them what they want. And you stop getting better. You stop exploring your craft. You don't take the off season because you got to drop that next joint real quick. All of your practice is in public. So now it's like, okay, now your ego is tied to the response that you get. You don't have time to just get in and shoot in the gym. You in the game and everybody's watching. So yeah, I think that, interestingly, Miss Ma'am says, I'm memorable for my morning breath and my lover. Well, let me say this. If you have morning breath and a lover, that's memorable. There's a lot. That says a lot about you. And, yeah. So DRB Rain says, sometimes it feels like I'm just at my peak and I can't seem to get better. You feel stuck. So yeah, that's a plateau. That's definitely a part of the process. You reach these thresholds and it's hard to break through. And then you kind of feel the pressure to maintain. And yeah, those ruts can be really demoralizing for a creative person. When you feel stuck, it makes you kind of lose some of the passion that you have, because you're just like, this is all trash, but that's when you need the off season. That's when you need the off season. And that's when you kind of need a consistent practice that doesn't require inspiration. If you can have a way to show up when you're not inspired, then that's where all the magic happens. The magic happens in between, So everybody, it's time to drop those green hearts in the chat. We've been thinking about that off-season workout program. So yeah. Green hearts in the chat. DRB Ray says, I gotta, not to flex, but I do have a decent followings on my socials. And you just want to keep serving them that heat. I can dig that. That's a lot of pressure. You have to balance your needs as a creative person and the expectations of the audience, that are riding with you. But it's some people, they, you have to realize that they riding with you. Not everybody, but it's some of them that's just there for whatever you want to, they just there for you. They gonna ride. And as long as you got them, then you have the freedom to experiment and grow in any direction that you want to go. Whatever is possible for you. And it might take years of searching to find that new thing, that new groove. I know, I did spend some time, producing, and I had my era in the music business a long time ago. And a lot of it, like, it was a learning curve around gear, that kind of made me, technology opens up new opportunities and new possibilities. That's been true in music forever. A new instrument, a new sound comes along and it creates these new possibilities. So, I had a pretty consistent production tempo, and then I got something that could do something new that I didn't know how to do. And I had to break. I basically had to just shut down and learn this new skill, It's like, okay, Let me just not worry about pumping out something that I already know how to do. Let me just take 6 months and practice and master some music theory. Let me work on my just. I'm not trying to make finished projects. It's the off season. I'm trying to get better at playing, so I'm just going to practice playing. And your increased skills opens up new creative possibilities, right? So DRB Rain says my content is always targeting mental health, things I go through, and just try to allow people to, to relate and be an open door to letting people know they're not alone. Well, that's a very valuable thing. And I think that if that's something that's important to you, then I understand why you want to keep getting better and being even more impactful with each story that you tell. Templar King is loving the music. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that you like the vibe. All right. Let's see what we have here. We do have an anonymous anonymous reply. Something I want to work on is a personal thing. I have to get better at keeping men away from me. I nearly got kissed by my driver yesterday. Wow, well, in some ways that's not your deal. That's their deal. That's just some predatory. That's not your issue. Um, because if anybody's invading your personal space, then you weren't asking for that. So I want to make sure. I wanted to share that. I don't want you to take the blame for that and say that's your fault. There are a lot of people who are just creeps, So I'm sorry that's so much a part of your experience. But I do want you to know, and you don't have to, you answered anonymously, so we don't need to say much about it. But I do want you to recognize that it's not you. So Vida Hermosa is just listening this morning. I'm glad to have you here. Kick back and relax and enjoy the conversation and just kind of think things through. I know you're still on the mend, but I'm glad to have you here. All right. So we've been talking about the off season, those things that we're going to work on when we have an opportunity to make ourselves better. And also, I think sort of inherent or behind this question is the recognition. We need to be willing to recognize the fact that we need an off season. Sometimes we don't give ourselves an off season. We don't give ourselves the time and space to explore and improve and grow and practice in low stakes situations. We just constantly in the game. We constantly learning on the fly. We haven't worked on our conditioning, and we wear ourselves down and burn ourselves out because we don't give ourselves an off season. So beyond even figuring out what you want to work on the off season, I think it's important to realize that you need one, and that it is going to be the key to your growth and the breakthroughs that you have creatively, the breakthroughs that you have in your relationships and everything, giving yourselves that space to retool, to refocus, and to work on yourself with that, in private, work on you for you outside of the stakes of what's required of you or expected of you from other people. All right. We are at the top of the hour or past the top of the hour. So I want to just do real quick. Thank everyone for being here and kind of reset real quick. This is Morning Journal session number 178. Glad to have you here this morning. And I hope that your Wednesday is off to a great start. If you're just wrapping up your Tuesday night, hopefully you'll be able to get some rest and have a great day tomorrow. But just so you know, we are here every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time. We're streaming live right here on Spoon. That's where you see the chat rolling in the background if you're watching. And that's where folks are answering in the request box. Really cool vibe. If you've never been in here, I encourage you to give it a listen because it doesn't sound like what you're hearing. It is different. I promise you. You can let them know it is different on that audio experience when you're listening over there. And if you've never watched, I am also live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. So thanks to all the folks who've listened in and watched. Shout out to the replay gang. I know this hour isn't convenient for everyone, but we have folks who come back and listen in later. And I appreciate you. And I hope that you're getting a lot out of these experiences. Also, I encourage you, if you are on the replay gang, if you can leave responses in the comments underneath the video if you're watching the replay, and I will check in with you. I'd love to continue the conversations with you over there if you're not able to check us out live. All right. And also, let me say this. If you're not subscribed over to the YouTube channel and you're listening there, go ahead and drop a little sub on me. Subscribe. Let's get those numbers up. I also have some content dropping on YouTube, some kind of exclusive content and some excerpts from the streams. So it's worth your time. I'll make it worth your time. So thank you all for being here. And let me real quick acknowledge and shout out the folks who are listening in with us right now. So Debbie Bear has the I don't know if we've met before, Debbie Bear, but thanks for being here. I hope that you've enjoyed the conversation. Mo is here as well. Mo is the host of Mo just celebrated 2 years, the 2-year Spooniversary. I'm sitting at about 2 years too. I think I started in January of 2020. So yeah. So congratulations on the 2-year Spooniversary. And also you can check out Mo on Go to Work, which is happening right after this stream. You'll be listening in as Mo is running late to work as per usual. And also check out Make Friends, which is an afternoon evening stream that Mo hosts just to connect over comedy, music, and good times. So Mo is also the co-host of the Emmy and Mo show, which I think might be in hiatus right now. Let me know what the plans are for that going forward. Hi, Chels. Hi, Hannah. Welcome in, folks. It's nice to have you this morning. You came in just in time for the plugs. You came right on time. Shout out to Jamocha listening in this morning. I noticed the notification popped up that you were live yesterday. I know you were thinking about how to reconnect and resume your conversations on here in a healthy way. Shout out also to you for 60 days. Reaching that 60-day milestone is huge. So everybody, everybody hands in the air, celebrating, help Jamocha celebrate that 60 days of sobriety. Also, we have listening in Alexis Autumn Elf is here. I know Alexis has been a little bit under the weather, so maybe a little bit AFK. Alexis hosts tonight gameplay with Noble. I don't know if they're up to it from a health standpoint, but typically on Wednesdays at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific, you can check out Alexis featuring Noble playing ROA live here on Spoon. Speaking of Noble is the host of the Gamer Shop. That was last night, 6 p.m. Eastern on Tuesdays is when you can check out the Gamer Shop with Noble, talking about tabletop games and the business of tabletop games. Noble is a game designer. And Armistice Games is the company. They have some titles available that you can check out at armisticegames.com. But make sure you give Noble Ancient a follow and stay connected. Special shout out to Gibby, who is in great spirits this morning and existing in gratitude. I'm always glad to see you pop in. Shout out to Chels, probably doing some last minute work. Thanks so much for the like. Welcome in, Monty. Thank you for joining. Yeah, Bex, thanks for holding things down with the necktie. Abby is here, folks. Animal, welcome in, folks. It's nice to have you this morning. We are getting ready to go into the next prompt if y'all are ready for it. I really appreciate everyone for for spending some time this morning. Yeah, Chels isn't doing last minute stuff. Debbie Bear says, this is a great stream and very helpful, a good stream to listen to before starting a good day. Well, thank you, Debbie Bear. I'm glad that you are enjoying your time here. I'm a little bit confused because typically it looks like you are new-ish in terms of the number of people that you follow, etc. But it looks like you've had the app for a while based on where you are on the list. So let me know, what's the story there? Have you been around Spoon for a while? It's nice to have you here. I'm glad that you found us. Monty, thank you so much for the like. I really appreciate you. Monty says, I love how this is kind of like a restaurant and you're our waiter. I don't know, I guess you could look at it that way. And I guess the music sounds like you kind of in a restaurant. I can read off the specials. Oh, all right. So can I get you started with something to drink? Today our specials. Okay, so Debbie, so I had the app for a while, but I go back and forth between adding and deleting. I can appreciate that, Debbie. Sometimes you need to, every situation isn't universally positive, but I would encourage you, if you enjoy this experience, follow me on YouTube, and you can, if you decide you don't need to be on this app, you can still use this as a part of your experience getting ready in the morning. We're here. Over on you can find a link in my profile or in the notice. I'd love to see you over there. All right, so Bex is going to have an iced chai. Jamocha's going to have some orange juice. Okay. That's a good breakfast drink. So David, you said that you hadn't found a stream that you can listen to often. Well, hey, yeah, there you go. Well, if you enjoy this experience, I encourage you, and I try to point you to other streamers who are part of this community that you would maybe enjoy if you like the connections and the conversations that are going on. But we'll be here for you every morning, 6 a.m. So we'd love to have you as a part of it. All right, the drink orders are coming up. In the meantime, we'll get ready to go to our next prompt if y'all are ready for it. And this is kind of taking things in a different direction. It can be a little bit challenging. Would you let me know what you think about it? All right, here we go. Who or what are you loyal to? That's the first part. And then the second part of the question is, how is that loyalty impacting your growth and well-being? So loyalty, I think that is something that we all value. I think we all enjoy being on the receiving end of loyalty, but it is a complicated thing, right? Yeah, everybody wants to be on the receiving end of loyalty, for sure. That's like 100%. But sometimes, I think sometimes we use loyalty as a proxy. We use loyalty to stay stuck, right? So it could be that you're loyal, I'm loyal to a fault. But there might be some loyalties that you are holding as an excuse not to grow. There might be some loyalty, things that you're loyal to and you are using loyalty as an alibi to avoid your, you know, to kind of sabotage yourself. Um, so, just take a look at it. I'm not here to judge. I'm not here. I'm just curious. Like, not me saying I'm not here to judge, and then as soon as you say something, I'm gonna roast you, right? All right. So Monty says, me being loyal to my mother and helping her. So loyalty in your familial relationships, being consistent and solid for your mom. That's cool. So Debbie Bear says, I can say I'm overly loyal in relationships with little return, which holds me back. Even with little return, better put. Abby says, I think it's so weird when people use loyalty to define themselves. Like, I wasn't sus, but now I am. It's like, yeah, if you're going to put that out first, no, now I'm suspicious. If you telling me how loyal you are, okay, why do we need to bring that up? Now I'm suspicious. So Noble Ancient says, between Armistice Games, Alexis Harley, and my ethics, I have sincere loyalties to grow with. My growth and well-being are positively impacted by those loyalties, you asked. Yeah, I think when you are loyal to and surrounded by the right things and the right people, then they can have a positive impact. So Emo says, being loyal is a form of trust and respect. It feels pretty good to have someone you regard so much. Yeah, it's like, I'm riding with you, yo. I'm riding with you. I trust and respect you. And I'm riding. Yeah, it's a complicated thing, right? It's like, so you have to be intentional about where you place your loyalty, right? Because some people, they just try to come out the gate. Some people are just like instantly loyal. Like, we ain't even figured anything out yet. And I'm riding. The affiliation is so powerful. I think a lot of times when we are in unhealthy situations, in unhealthy relationships, I think our need for affiliation, and everyone has a need to be a part of something. And sometimes that loyalty is fueled by that need rather than anything that is inherently trustworthy or valuable about the situation that you are attaching yourself to. You just in the gang, and I just happen to be on this street, and this is who I roll with just because this is where I'm at. That's all I need to know. So now I'm down for life. I'm down by law. I don't know if that's the healthiest way to work it, but that's how some people do it, because it is sort of an expression of affiliation. And it's also a tool of control and manipulation as well, because people understand that we have this need to belong. Companies understand that we have this need to belong, and people will use that need for connection and affiliation against you. And by questioning your loyalty, it's just like so offensive. Like, oh no, it's like, So, yeah, it's a complicated thing, that loyalty, right? Camouflage and Emo Wolf, A Wolf, thank you for joining us. Here goes Miss Ma'am. All right. Miss Ma'am says, I'm loyal to my lover and pet, which I consider my children. They are loyal to me, so I give the same appreciation back. And seeing them happy makes me happy, though they could drive me crazy. Now, here's something that really jumps out for me. I like how this is a big request box, right? Let me just peep game real quick. All right, Miss Ma'am, here we are. Miss Ma'am has see, 5 words out of the entire box dedicated to the lover. And then the whole rest of the box is all about the pets. Oh man, the lover gets 5 words. The pets get a love letter. I mean, I guess pets are just unproblematic, right? Oh, I love that, Miss Ma'am. So Abby says, I try to be loyal to myself. Sometimes I slip up and forget how I should be treating myself. Yeah, the ultimate betrayal is when you betray yourself, right? You're not loyal to the person that you are committed to becoming. Yeah. Yeah. Beck says, no, pets are very problematic. Giving my cat the side eye right now. Yeah, I mean, you sign up for whatever the pet is going to do, right? I think that um, the way that we love our pets and the way that we forgive our pets, we don't necessarily extend um, the same compassion towards people because we have these expectations of people that we don't have for, for pets. And that's interesting, right? Welcome back, Debbie Bear. Thanks for joining us again. Chell says all your cat does is judge you. The cat just came in and asserted, okay, I'll take that. And now I'm just here to judge you. Emma says that it's easier to project onto pets. Yeah, I have a I don't know how would I describe it. I don't have any pets currently, but I have sort of a vicarious appreciation of Emma's pets, just because I get to listen in on her interactions with them, and that So I I feel like I know Seaton and Minu, even though I've never met them. And I feel like we would get along. Sean is here. Welcome in, Sean. It's good to see you, fam. Hope that things are going well for you. Always nice to have you in the place. All right. So let me see. Are we ready? Are we ready to go to the next prompt? Let me know. Are we still in this space right now? We can take our time. I'm not in a big old hurry. But yeah, let me know. Drop a heart in the chat if we're ready to go to the next one. All right. Here we go. All right. So, Croc Snap, welcome in. Thanks for joining us this morning. All right. A lot of times we have some things that are kind of glaring in our experience that we know for sure we need to work on. Like the things that we beat ourselves up over. But I think that just like anything else, we were talking about the off season before. There's some things that changes that we desire to make that could make a huge impact in our lives that we just haven't been able to get over the hump and make the change. Like even if we know that it is a healthy choice, we know we do way too much of it. We constantly abuse ourselves and beat ourselves up for not making a change. Sometimes it's too big of a leap. Just like anything else, I think stopping doing things requires a certain type of muscle It requires a certain type of identity and a certain ownership of the control and power that you have to affect your experience. If you don't have that belief in yourself that you can do it, you will sink down to the level of your belief. Whenever you get ready to try to make that big move, to make that big change, to make that big leap, your performance will sink down to the level of your belief and your faith in yourself to actually make it happen. So it could be the case that you need to build up that muscle. You need to build up that new identity as the type of person who can exercise that control and quit something and stop something. So if it's something that you're really connected to and that you're really entangled with, it might be difficult to start there. But maybe there's a little thing that you do. It's not that serious. It's not like life or death, but it's just taking up a little space in your life. It's a little irritant. And if you can exercise just a little bit of control in that space, then you start building up that, like, oh, I did that. Now maybe I can do this. So we need some quitting practice. Something small. I like you don't feel like you got to do it, but you know that when I don't do it, it's better when I don't. Get them. Welcome in. It's good to see you this morning. Rockstar, thank you so much for the like. So yeah, a little thing that you can. It's not ruining your life. It's not life or death, but maybe it's just a way that you can practice gaining a little bit of control in your situation. Sean is wishing everyone a happy new year, a good new year. Yes, Sean, it's good to see you, and I hope that you're off and running as well in 2022. Dot has joined us. Welcome in, Dot. It's good to see you. So we're talking about, not so harmful habit. What do you think that might be? What is something for you? Yes, get them, of course. All right. We do have a response. Y'all can keep thinking about this. We have a response in here that is kind of, I don't know if this is a habit, and I don't know that it's not, it might fall in the category of something that is a little more harmful. But someone anonymously shares they fell in love with two people. And if you habitually are falling in love with multiple people, that's kind of tough. I think that might be, there are kind of relationship patterns, like a commitment thing that might be standing in place. The inability to trying to hold too many options open, right? That's like a commitment thing. So maybe if it's a commitment thing that you're looking at, then maybe start with a smaller commitment. But, I know you answered anonymously, so we won't go any deeper into that because I don't want you to kind of say, put yourself out there. Noah Ancient says the not so harmful habit I can stop doing in practice is speaking negatively inwardly when I'm around strangers, as I know nothing about them, and start focusing on my day. So you just be out here roasting people under your breath. Like, what are we doing, Noble? Like, look at this guy. All day, Noble is just walking around judging everybody. Like, oh, look at this guy. Why is he doing that? Is that what's going on, Noble? You're just kind of mumbling under your breath, complaining and criticizing people instead of minding your business. Yeah, I guess there are not huge consequences to it, because especially if you're not saying it to the person, but I guess it does kind of close you off to the possibility of building a connection with them, because once you've started talking badly about someone, then it changes the way that you see them, and it might close off a potential positive connection just because of the way they happen to show up in that moment. So, yeah, you see somebody doing something crazy, you just be like, oh, right on. That's them, that's their life. I'm just gonna do my thing. It's like, really? Nobles all day, Nobles walking around like, really? Really? Yeah, so just let it be, right? It's like, yeah, who am I? Who am I to criticize what that situation you got going on over there? Hey, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you should be wearing those shoes. Um, who am I? I don't know. So Miss Bam says being way too overly nice. Being nice is good if you're in the right crowd. However, if you're with the wrong people, they'll trap you. They'll trap you in, and you'll be stuck somewhere you never wanted to be. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes people confuse politeness with consent, and they'll have you roped into a situation like you're just being cool, but they think, okay, you're one of us. Mez is here. Welcome in, Mez. It's good to see you this morning. Hope that you are doing well. Whew. All right. So Abby is sharing that I really like to smoke, but I just find it making my days much easier. But I wouldn't say I'm addicted, but it's hard for me to be sober. Like, I don't feel like I'm going to go crazy due to life some elements. So it sounds like you're a little bit ambivalent about the impact that smoking is having on your life. You don't see it as a problem. Um, I don't know if it's serving a purpose, you know. Yeah, I don't know. DJ Prodigy is here. It's good to see you this morning, DJ Prodigy. Noble's going to say some RPG jokes that are going to go over everybody's head, so stand by. All right. So Gidim says, quitting weed for a month with my stoner friends for the new year. I've been bored but forced to be productive to kill time rather than being complacent with the present. So yeah, just kind of breaking that pattern of behavior and seeing if that can be a way that you can shake things up in your life a little bit. Okay, why did the leather shield never need insurance? Why did the leather shield never need insurance? Okay. So Sean says, I'm quitting not believing in myself as much as I should. So working on that self-doubt. I would say the self-doubt is a pretty big habit. How does that manifest in behavior though, exactly? What does it look like to not believe in yourself? What are the actions that you are taking that are evidence that you are not believing in yourself? So that's a way to, I think it's really important, like being specific, especially when you're talking about, what is the language that you use when you speak to yourself? When you make that move to not follow through, at the moment where you make the decisions, like what are the things that you're saying to yourself before you go, so those are the things. That's the part to challenge. Like the word, the action of quitting or like not following through. There was a thought or some language, some internal language that preceded that thought. So think about the situations where that happened, and what do you say to yourself in those moments? Um, and then that's where you can say, well, let me stop saying that. You know. So Mo says, reasoning with the consequences. Yeah, we try to sit at the negotiation table. Um, it's like, well, let's see. Can I not do this? What's the worst that can happen? Yeah, I don't need to do this. Okay, here we go. So someone anonymously shared that they want to quit the self-doubt and not taking a side because it made me a chameleon. There you go, Mo. There's the source. A chameleon who betrayed themselves, not standing up for what you believe. So Emma was saying yesterday that the song Karma Chameleon was in her head, and I think that the chameleon is in the air right now. So Gedem says you love the takes on these messages. Yeah, we're not here to judge. We just want to illuminate and share. I'm glad that you are enjoying the experience. I appreciate you for being here and being open, because we are all here to learn together. No one of us has all the answers. So we're here and we're learning and growing together. So dealing with the self-doubt, yeah, that's beautiful. We all have that. That's a beautiful recognition when we are not being true to ourselves and not confident enough in ourselves that we're willing to stand up and take a side, make a choice, and not worry about what people think about it. No one has all the answers except for Mo. So make sure you see Mo for the answers. I want answers. I don't want all the answers. I just want half of them. Right. Okay. So here we are. Are we ready to go into what will probably be our final and kind of practical prompt to go into the end of the session? Let me say thanks so much to everyone who's been here since the beginning and went on the ride and the journey of me trying to make sports metaphors to people who's like, sports balls. I don't understand sports. But I hopefully the message did come through. I got sports on my mind because it's playoff season coming up, and it's, But I hope the message came through, and I hope that you were able to gain something from your experience here with us this morning. We're going to get into the last prompt of the day, if you will. Let's see. So it's all about making the tiny commitments, right? We talked about taking a small step. We're examining these loyalties that we have and looking at how they are impacting our lives. There's big things that we want to do, but it's about the small things that we do every day. That's what matters. The journey is just today. No matter how far it is that you want to go, you can only, ain't no skipping steps, you dig? So Gedem says, what's this music called? The last song that was playing. Well, this is called Alma by the Bladford Band. And the last one was As It Is by Oakwood Station. So that's the playlist that I'm working with. I use Epidemic Sound, which is a royalty-free music service. Um, but they got bangers on there though. So that's what we play in the background here on the stream. All right, one day at a time, I will. That is the prompt. Let me open up the request box for you and let me know what your one day at a time commitment is for today. So the interesting thing is a lot of the folks is on Epidemic Sound, but a lot of these artists also have their music on Spotify and stuff like that. So I'll let you know the band names, and you might be able to find some of their stuff on Spotify. I'll type it in the chat so that you can see that as you are answering. So Oak Wood Miss Ma'am is back. What's up? All right, one day at a time. That is our commitment, and this is what we work on. One day at a time. I will forgive myself. One day at a time, little by little. Sometimes we have to, Sometimes forgiveness is existing. Like we can only muster a small dose of forgiveness at any given time. It's hard to let everything go and fully embrace the present and forgive and heal all the things in our past. So one day at a time, I will forgive myself a little bit more. I will open myself up more to the value that I have in the present, despite whatever may have happened in the past. That's a great step to take today. So Noble Ancient says that one day at a time, I will adventure in my 24 and work on what is needed to get done from midnight to midnight when my day starts anew. Sean says, one day at a time, I will work on fulfilling my dreams and be the best I can be. Yeah. We know what the aim is. We understand what the dream is. What is it that we can do today that's moving us closer to that? What are we measuring? We want to go back to some of the earlier comments. What are we measuring? How are we measuring our progress? What does it look like today to go for your dreams? What would be the activity inside, inside of the day that is a perfect example of you being your best self? DJ Prodigy says, I just tested positive for COVID, so I will rest up and relax one day at a time. I'm sorry to hear that, Prodigy. That's a huge bummer. I know that your life is about getting out there and being in front of people and performing. So that's a tough one. I hope that you are taking care of yourself and getting on the mend. So you're also dealing with the loss of a pet. So that's a tough morning for you. Yeah, hearts in the chat for DJ Prodigy. I'm sorry to hear that, fam. Noble's like, not your year. I'm not going to blame it on the year. It's not. We're not going to say it's not your year. It's just a rough couple days. We're going to recover. All right, one day at a time. Miss Ma'am says, one day at a time, I will get stable in life and have a home and a car that I will finally be able to relax and travel around the world so I can finally enjoy the beauty of life without worries. Miss Ma'am, that's what we're moving for, one day at a time. And by some magic, Miss Ma'am is going to be able to take a car around the world. That's a car that I guess we haven't seen that car yet. You said the world in a car. Mm. All right. Yeah, so it is the small commitments we have today, and then tomorrow, if we were fortunate to wake up tomorrow, we have tomorrow, and then we can make another small step. Emma says, car can go on boat. This is true. You know what else can go on boat? Oddly, train can go on boat. I've been on a train on a boat before. It was really, really weird. Train went on the boat. We got off the train, walked around the boat until the boat crossed the water. Then we got back on the train and kept looking. Yep. This was in Europe. This was traveling between Germany and we were going to Denmark. So Gedem says, I picked up running to keep myself occupied with the weed break boredom. It's meditative of sorts and nice solo activity. Improving one day at a time. Picking them up and putting them down. Yeah, get out there and run. Running in the cold. I don't know if it's cold where you are. I know a lot of people are in the grips of winter right now. Running in the cold is great practice. Like, you hate it when you do it. You hate it when you get out there in the beginning, but after you've done it and you come back in, you kind of feel invincible, yo. Those knives of cold air piercing your lungs with each breath. Even better when you have the unstable ground beneath you and you're trying to get your footing running on ice. If you can do that, then you're going to feel invincible. I guarantee you. But be safe out there. I don't want them ankles to, And Event says, yeah, but I just hated the whole time anyway. Yeah, you got to get to the end before you like it. And it just sucks the whole time. All right, y'all hear the theme song, the outro music. If you're listening in on Spoon, y'all can tell what time it is. Let me put our background back up so we have the right thumbnail. Thank you, everyone, for stopping through and checking us out for session number 178 of the Morning Journal. I'm really conscious of my cadence right now because Annie Beth is listening and is convinced that she has a spot-on impression of me with my cadence. So I'm being extra pronounced with it right now so that she can hone this impression and maybe break it out the next time I see her, and then we can decide. Maybe you can decide if she does a faithful rendition of G. But yeah, last couple of minutes of the stream. Thanks everyone for being here. Shout out to Mez and Bex for holding down the neckties. Templar King, Riley Freeman. Sorry, Riley. Abby, Gibby, Noble Ancient, Sean, aka Hover One, Alexis Automev, Miss Ma'am, Vita Hermosa, Get 'em, Shells, Mo, and Debbie Bear. I hope that you have a wonderful a wonderful Wednesday. We got a couple minutes left. Steve is back from the Hold Up TV. Shout out to Steve for, taking leadership in establishing platforms and spaces for folks over on Green Room. Conversations That Matter has moved over there in Request Box Live. Steve has been really on the grind in connecting folks and opening up opportunities and spaces on both platforms. So shout out to you, Steve. I hope that you had a good morning so far. Let me know what else is on the horizon for you. I think next week it's going to be Steve featuring Public Friend. Some of you might know Public Friend, who was a part of um, the Spoon team over here. I think that's coming up next week. Hey, I listened to Public Friend. Hey, the theme song is over. Let me stop rambling. Yeah, next week is Public Friend. So if you want to get to know someone who was a part of the experience here for a while on the, kind of supporting us as a part of the team, who is now streaming and is an incredible interviewer, stay connected with Steve to stay up on that. All right. All right, folks. I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. I hope you have a wonderful day. Peace out, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch.